He saw the structure. He saw where it was going. He saw where it turned right or left with possible explanations that didn't turn out to be the right explanation. He saw the picture. The first mimer that the Rebbe asked Rabbi Yoel to write up a hanocha,
a transcript.
Rabbi Yoel said, I can't do my Murim, because he wanted the Rebbe to write it.
So the Rebbe would speak, and the Rebbe asked him to make a transcript of what he said and write it in a formal, in a proper form, as opposed to just a transcript of the speech. So
all the previous Rebbes either wrote the mimer and never said it. It was meant to be studied from the text, or they wrote it and then said it. And sometimes they said it and then wrote it for people to be able to review. So when the Rebbe asked Rabbi Yoel to write up the Rabbi Yoel wanted the Rebbe to do it. So he said, I can't, it's too hard for me. And the Rebbe said, don't play games. This is your mission. Write it up. And he did, and that's the way it was the entire time. So Rabbi Yoel was born a genius. When he was a child, people were amazed by his intelligence, not just in learning, in everything, in math, just in logic. So the reason that he was able to memorize everything that Rebbe said in a 5-hour Fabrengen on 5 different topics is not because he has a photographic memory. There are people that I knew who had better memories, amazing memories. His gift was he saw the big picture, like a bird's eye view. He saw the structure. He saw where it was going. He saw where it turned right or left with possible explanations that didn't turn out to be the right explanation. He saw the picture. So when they would review, he would get together with a group of students and others right after the Fabrengen, before they were allowed to write on Shabbos or Yom Tov, and they would review it. There were young boys who had better memories. And they would say, no, the Rebbe used this word or that word. And Rabbi Yoel had to correct them because they thought that that was used in part of the answer when it was really part of the question. Or it was part of the question and they thought it was part of the answer. So they got the structure wrong. So when you have a bird's eye view, you see where things connect and how they all come together. So you don't need a photographic memory for the exact word. You've got the picture.
So they remembered what the Rebbe said, but they didn't necessarily remember why the Rebbe said it. Back to our point.
Yeah. So when we started learning Tanya for the first time, Rabbi Yoel was the teacher. And this was in Bedford before we got to 770.
You were how old, approximately?
16. We were actually the youngest class that went from Bedford to 770. Because Rabbi Yoel promised to be our personal teacher in 770.
So you went to 770 before you went to Montreal?
Right. For a year, the entire class, we all went to 770. Because Rabbi Yoel was going to teach us every day. It didn't work out so well.
Why?
It didn't fit his schedule, and he meant well, and he intended to do it, but it didn't happen. So after a year, some of us went to Newark, and some of us went to Israel, and some of us went to Montreal. But it was an amazing class, a lot of really impressive people. And that's what Yoel wanted us to be in 770, so he could teach us. But of course, his effect was tremendous on everyone. So the primary memory of my first encounter with Yoel, we were learning a mimer, and in the mimer it said that this quality or this midah is the internal dimension of another midah. This is the pnimis of this. I forget what the details were, but I didn't see the connection. Why would this be the pnimis of that? So I went to Rabbi Yoel and I said, why? Why is this the pnimis of this? And he looked at me for a moment and he said, what does pnimius mean? And I said, oh, I got it. That was like, first of all, his ability to immediately recognize where I was stuck. What was I not getting? It wasn't that I didn't understand the connection between A and B. I didn't understand what it means to be the internal of something. That's where the problem was. And he identified it immediately. But also, what he taught me was, don't use words you don't understand. That was not just an answer to a question. That was establishing a path along which to travel in all questions and in all issues and forever. So after that, anytime Rabbi Yoel was teaching something or bringing or whatever it was, I had to be there. So his clarity of thinking and his ability to identify a student's problem, that's a mashpia. That's somebody who sets you on your own 2 feet and tells you how to use your head. Rabbi Yoel is like a little bit out of this world. In the world of theory, he's a genius. In practical things, so my favorite story is that when he would teach us, and this was, I said, there were some very bright kids in this class, and they were under-challenged for many, many years. All the teachers we had before Rabbi Yoel didn't capture anybody's imagination, to put it mildly. So they were a little wild, undisciplined, and so on. With Rabbi Yoel, from the moment he walked in, we became students. We became sponges. We just wanted to hear more and more. And when the class was over, we were not happy. It was only an hour. It wasn't good enough. So Rabbi Yoel didn't wear a watch and was not very good with time and space.
Those 2 minor details.
Yeah. So there was a clock on the wall. That was, the old-fashioned clock that was plugged in with a long plug. So we had somebody sit at the wall where the plug was, and every 10 minutes they would pull out the plug. So they would stop the watch. And that way we kind of tricked them into staying an hour and a half.
But that says as much about you guys as it does about him. That's the truth. A mashpia needs a teacher needs students as much as the students need a good teacher. That's a great group of kids.
It was a good combination, yeah. We have a Sunday night program for VIPs that you might be interested in. It's informal, it's questions and answers, it's conversation. It's really relaxed, it's really pleasant, enjoyable, informative, and kind of community-like. It's a Sunday night program. There's a Wednesday morning program for the VIPs, and there's a Wednesday night program. All of it just conversation, casual, laid back, unscripted. So join us. Take a look. Click the link below and see which of the three suits you best, and join us for some enjoyable conversation.